Imagine this. It's the summer of 1518. In Strasbourg, France. The sun is scorching, the streets are crowded, and life is hard. Famine and disease are rampant, but amidst this suffering, something utterly bizarre and terrifying is about to unfold. Something that would go down in history as one of the most mysterious and disturbing events of all time. It all began with one woman, known as Frau Trafia. One hot July day, she stepped out of her house and into the street. There was no music, no celebration, no apparent reason at all. She simply started to dance. But this wasn't a dance of joy. Her movements were frantic, her limbs flailed wildly, and her face was a mask of agony. She danced and danced, unable to stop. Day turned into night, and still she danced. Her husband and neighbors begged her to rest, but her body was no longer her own. She was trapped in a relentless, agonizing rhythm. You'd think this was just a tragic, isolated incident, but it wasn't. Within a week, something truly chilling happened. Dozens of other people joined her. Men, women, and even children were suddenly seized by the same uncontrollable urge. They flooded the streets, their bodies jerking and twitching in a silent, macabre ballet. They danced until their feet were bloody stumps, until they collapsed from sheer exhaustion, only to struggle back up and continue their horrifying performance. The city of Strasbourg was gripped by terror. What was happening to them? Was it a diabolical curse cast by witches? Was it the wrath of God? A divine punishment for their sins? The local authorities were desperate. They called in the city's physicians for answers. After examining the dancers, the doctors came to a strange conclusion. They ruled out supernatural causes and declared it a natural ailment, a case of hot blood overheating the brain. And their prescribed cure, it was even stranger than the diagnosis. They believed the only way to heal the dancers was to let them dance it all out. Yes, you heard that right. Their solution was more dancing. So, the city council cleared out a guild hall and the town square. They erected a wooden stage, and they even hired professional musicians and drummers to provide a steady beat, thinking it would help the afflicted regain control. They thought they were helping. They were dead wrong. What happened next was a descent into pure hell. The sound of a constant, driving beat echoed through the city, but instead of curing the afflicted, it acted like a contagion. The music drew in hundreds more. The town square transformed into a living nightmare. Imagine a writhing mass of humanity, bodies convulsing, eyes wide with terror, foam frothing at their mouths. People danced until their bones literally cracked. They danced until their feet were raw and infected. They danced until their hearts gave out, and they dropped dead from strokes, heart attacks, and sheer, brutal exhaustion. Eyewitness accounts from the time paint a truly apocalyptic picture. Chroniclers described the scene as something unnatural, as if a malevolent spell had been cast over the entire city. They wrote of mothers abandoning their crying children to join the frenzied mob, of elderly men swaying and screaming as they collapsed, never to get up again. And through all this chaos, the church bells tolled endlessly, a constant, mournful soundtrack to the horror unfolding below. Priests attempted exorcisms, but the rites failed. The physicians, seeing their cure had created a catastrophe, fled in panic. The plague of dance spread like wildfire. So, what on earth could have caused this? 500 years later, the dancing plague of 1518 remains one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. There are theories, of course. The leading scientific explanation is a case of mass psychogenic illness, or mass hysteria. The people of Strasbourg were living under extreme psychological stress. They were poor, starving, and ravaged by diseases like smallpox and syphilis. The theory goes that their minds simply broke under the pressure, manifesting in this bizarre physical explosion. Another compelling theory points to a biological cause. Ergot poisoning. Ergot is a mold that grows on damperi, which was a staple food at the time. This fungus contains a chemical called ergotamine, from which LSD is derived. Consuming bread made from contaminated rye could cause severe muscle spasms, convulsions, and vivid, terrifying hallucinations. Could the people of Strasbourg have been collectively tripping, poisoned by their daily bread, trapped in a shared, waking nightmare. But there are problems with these theories. Ergot poisoning usually causes gangrene, which restricts blood flow, making coordinated dancing for days on end physically impossible. And as for mass hysteria, while it can explain spontaneous outbreaks, the dancing plague seemed strangely organized. Some reports claim the dancers moved in unison, as if following an invisible choreographer. A few survivors later claimed they heard music that no one else could, a sinister melody compelling them to move. Some even spoke of a dark, shadowy figure they saw watching them from the alleyways, smiling as they danced themselves to death. By the time the outbreak began to subside a month later, as many as 400 people had been consumed by the dancing mania. The death toll was staggering, with some reports claiming up to 15 people died each day at the plague's peak. Desperate, the city council finally took a different approach. They banned all public music and dancing. The remaining survivors, weak and delirious, were rounded up and taken on a pilgrimage to a mountain shrine dedicated to Saint Vita, who was believed to have the power to cure nervous system disorders. They were made to wear red shoes and circle a wooden effigy of the saint while priests prayed for their souls. And then, slowly, miraculously, the dancing stopped. The nightmare was over, but the questions remain. Was it a sickness of the mind, a desperate population pushed beyond its breaking point? Was it a biological poison lurking in their food? Or was it something darker, something supernatural that defied all rational explanation? What truly happened in Strasbourg during that terrible summer, we may never know for sure. The dancing plague stands as a chilling reminder of how little we sometimes understand about the human mind and body, a historical mystery that continues to echo through time, the story of a city that danced until it bled. Thank you so much for watching. What do you think caused this bizarre event? Let me know your theories down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this journey into one of history's strangest mysteries, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the unknown. We'll see you in the next one.